Hi everyone! I can't believe it's already late February, but this is my first video of the year. And this time I made a pet urn for my kitty. Well, I know this is a woodworking channel, so I'll cut my emotion part off and focus on the woodworking. Let's see how I made it. Okay, I usually prep all wood at the beginning. But this time, since the wood I use is very minimal, I prep the wood as I make part by part. And I decided to go with a variation of a box joint that I call a double rabbeted box joint. For this joint, cutting a rabbet as accurate as possible is the key to make the joint tight. So please focus on it if you do it. The box joint part will be relatively easy because it will be thinner than the full width, and in my case, it was a little less than quarter of an inch. Anyways, the advantages of using this double rabbeted box joint are, I think the inside walls that overlaps with the lid looks clean, and it can make the wood look thinner. In the Japanese sashimono woodworking that I admire, especially the Tokyo style, they value slim looking yet built tough. Well, I'm using half an inch walnut, which is relatively thick for this size box, but this joint makes it look stylish, or at least I can fake it's a thin board. Moving on to the lid, I cut mitre joint on each piece. As I refresh the mitre angle on this jig, I just wanted to test if my mitre jig works okay. Then I cut some rabbets on it. As I started to focus on reducing my fabrication time, I tried to improve my chisel skill to get rid of the majority of the waste before the final slices with any planes. These rabbets are for where I embed the kumiko piece and the part that overlaps with the box body. And I used hide glue to assemble them, and it seems like the mitre corner came out okay. Then I worked on Kagome Kumiko. This kumiko requires really accurate strips, so I paid extra attention to make the strips uniform. Well, I've cut the basic Kagome kumiko with 1/8 of an inch strips once before, but this is Metsubushi Honneji Kagome with 5/16 of an inch strips, which is much more difficult, and I worried if I can cut it okay. And yeah, this is actually my second time marking this kumiko, as I just messed up and finished resurfacing all the strips to get rid of the wrong marking lines. Let me tell you, how to cut the strips is pretty simple, and all the pieces need to be cut in the same way except the locking pieces that they have a different cutting depth like the picture. If you think it's easy, there is one called Metsubushi Honneji Kagome Mengoshi, and it looks way more difficult than calling the name right. I found a video about it, so you can check it from the description. Anyways, before assembling this kumiko, most of the excess parts have to be cut off ahead of the time, or it's impossible to assemble. It wasn't perfect, but I was pretty happy when all the pieces come together. So now back to the box. After cleaning up the joints and height gap, I had to cut the bottom rabbet so I can fit it into the box base. I could have cut the bottom rabbit to begin with, like how I did for the lid, but it's just like taking out 1/8 of an inch. So, rather than working on the small pieces, it's easier to do it after everything is assembled with my beloved marking gauge method to cut out. And this is the most figured maple on my hand, aka Tiger Maple. The reason I went with this maple is because my kitty's name is Tiger. It's perfect, right? I actually knew there is lumber called tiger wood, but I had difficulty finding it locally. It's because I live very close to where Mr. Tiger Woods is from, so the most Google results are about him or his school. Anyways, I glued a maple plywood on this base as a box bottom and then fit the box body into it. Now, this is my first time cutting a spline on a miter joint, and it was all good. Since the spline is going with the grain, I think even if there is a tiny gap, the gap will be gone once you glue it. But, oops, off camera, I broke it. The spline was too tight, and the hide glue didn't hold the joint well. But it's okay, after I cleaned the joint and re-glued it, I made the slot for the spline wider, because the original slot was a little misaligned. Then, because the lid no longer fits as good as how it was with the box body, I shaved the inside of the lid too. I'll have to glue some pieces to adjust the fitting later. Okay, after I quickly made the splines and glued them, this is the last process. I need to fill the inside of the lid that I just cut off so I can adjust the lid fitting. I think it actually looks better with the filling pieces. And while I glue all the pieces, I made the outer box with Paulonia. It's just a butt joint, but I found butt joint is really difficult when it comes to assembling. Anyways, the box I'm making is called Daisashi box, and here's the final product. Even though it was a small project, it was pretty challenging, but I like how it came out. And yeah, my kitty was actually there when I started this project, but I wasn't able to finish it in time to have her approval. Hopefully, she'll be happy with it. Anyways, I'm sorry it took a while to upload this first video of the year, but I will try harder in this year, so, well, I guess that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I would be happy if you liked the video and happier if you subscribe to this channel. If you have any suggestion to my video, it's also welcome. See you!